Resident Evil Reverse is finally available for everyone to play. It has been so long since the game was originally set to be released on the same day as Resident Evil Village in 2021, in the same year the franchise celebrated its 25th anniversary. But the real question is Resident Evil Reverse worth the long wait, or is it a game you should completely avoid? Resident Evil Reverse isn't a game you can simply buy and download on its own, officially at least. New copies of Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil Village Deluxe, and Resident Evil Village Gold Edition all include a voucher to download Reverse, and of course all digital versions automatically include the game. Unlike Resident Evil Resistance, which was half of Resident Evil 3's remake release, Reverse isn't really half of Village's product. It acts more of a bonus game, so to speak. So I think it's a bit more forgiving in the title's shortcomings, but that's only to a point. Before you play, it needs to be known that you will need a Capcom ID account in order to start the game. It's free to sign up for. Now, when the game had its beta in 2021, I found myself really enjoying the game. Usually, I'm not a fan of online games unless it's something like co-op, but with Reverse, I ended that beta with a positive experience and could not wait for the game to finally be playable later that summer, but that never happened. Then the release was for sometime in 2022 and nothing was said. Finally, the game became playable the same day as Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, a complete edition that released a year and a half later from the original. So with all of those delays, you would expect Reverse to be packed to the brim with content and a variety of modes, right? Well, there are some new additions that weren't available before, but don't go into the game expecting much. The game only launched with one mode and only 2 maps, but we'll get to that. First things first though, turn off that horrific filter the game starts you off with. The game looks great without it, and with it on, it just feels awkward and almost like the developers were trying to maybe hide imperfections. Turn it off. Honestly, it's for the best. The game only has one mode, Standard Match. There's also Password Match, and that's only if you want to create a room and play with friends, but you won't be able to unlock or gain anything because it is a private match. Standard Match is a free-for-all where up to 6 players duke it out for the top spot, where your score is always changing depending on your kills or your deaths. If you want to get that top spot and win, you have to start out strong, and most of the time I had no issues getting in the top 3 by simply trying. The game could easily have an additional team deathmatch mode with 3 versus 3, or even one with groups of 2 for some variety, so if you hate free-for-alls, this may not be for you. Getting to that point of winning may prove to be a struggle. The game has a rather unique and fun take on the formula. Everyone starts out as a human, one of 6 iconic Resident Evil characters, and if you die, you turn into a creature, but the creature you turn into depends on the number of vials you collect throughout the map. Don't collect anything and you'll be a weaker, smaller creature. Get 1 or 2 vials and you could be something powerful like Jack Baker or the Nemesis. Creatures can be fun to play as, but frustrating to go up against as a human. It's all too easy to get cornered by multiple creatures without a way to escape, and getting knocked down by opponents is equally frustrating when characters take way too long to get up for a chance to fight. Get knocked down and you're as good as dead. You can improve your chances at survival with coins. Coins are like stat boosters for both humans and creatures, but the concept of coins themselves are mixed. Some do prove to be useful, and others don't even feel like they do any enhancements whatsoever. General coins are available for all characters, and certain coins pertain to specific characters with their unique weapons and skills. Each character functions differently, like Ada isn't necessarily good in close combat, but from far away, a few shots from her crossbow can take an opponent down. Leon is better in close quarters because of his shotgun, but poor from long distance. I found Chris to be one of the best characters to play as because he is a strong force to attack with. One of his skills will make him invincible from being knocked down by attacks. Someone like Hunk is probably the worst of the bunch. One of his skills allows him to go invisible, but it's only beneficial against creatures who can see the silhouettes of humans through walls. Other than that, it's a waste of what could be replaced with a more useful ability. There is someone for everyone, and you will find their skills and weapons to be very fitting to the character. At least one of the greater character improvements from the beta to now is that Chris was changed from his weird, skinny version from 7 to his familiar, bulky redesign in Village, though if you somehow prefer skinny Chris, the skin is there. If you aren't sure which character, human or creature you're more comfortable with, or want to see how your coins made a difference in each character's stats, the game does provide a playground for you to test out your characters. It's a perfect way to understand how each character works right before charging into a match. The game does have a ranking system that will attempt to match you with similar ranks, but ultimately never feels necessary to have in comparison to something like Apex Legends. This rank will go up and down depending on how well you do in matches, yet ultimately in a game like this, it's all up to chance. Some games I did very well in, and some I did poorly. And if the game can't find players at your same rank, it will eventually change its searching requirements to find anyone at all. And at this point, with the number of players dwindling, expect this to happen a lot. Like any online focused game, there is a battle pass. Two in fact. One is available for free to everyone, and the other is a $10 premium pass with better unlocks. In order to unlock items in the Battle Pass, you will need to complete challenges the game cycles through in order to level up. The free Battle Pass has exclusive items on every other level, and the Premium Pass has items on each level with more exciting unlocks, but the Battle Pass isn't the only way to unlock items. In-game credit earned by playing matches can be used to unlock things like new skins, background wallpapers, weapon designs and charms, and emotes. The amount of earned in-game credits per match can be boosted with good old microtransactions that can buy you a set number of RP boosters. On top of that, there is actual paid DLC with new skins that will be nostalgic for many who have been with Resident Evil's long history. It's an odd combination of monetization to unlock and buy new items for the game with a mix of paid and in-game currency. There is literally 3 different ways of getting outfits for your characters: the Premium Battle Pass, paid DLC outfits, and outfits purchasable with in-game currency. It's all a bit much. Despite the game being delayed for so long, it is nice to see a roadmap of additional content that's planned on being added in with 3 future updates, with even more updates said to be coming after, but even looking at that, it's all underwhelming. Judging from this roadmap, it feels like a lot of this could have been added to the game's launch. I do like that they are adding to the Battle Pass instead of having the Battle Pass be a limited time item. It gives a chance for newcomers later on a chance at unlocking what they want. But if you are accustomed to paying for levels in the Battle Pass, you'll find that option to be non-existent. Completing challenges to level up isn't difficult though, but it may distract you from simply playing a match normally. But let's face it, for a game that uses altered assets from Resident Evil 7 on up, so much more could have been added. It's ridiculous to only have 2 maps when there could have been at least 5 to start out with. The content that is available is either monetized or requires in-game currency by playing, though I will admit that gaining in-game currency isn't really difficult, and you can easily earn enough by playing a small number of matches. I do love the idea of a game celebrating Resident Evil history, and what the game does include from its legacy is a great start, but it needs a huge push. I was immensely impressed to be able to use outfits for Leon and Ada from Resident Evil 6, or an Umbrella Corps outfit for Hunk on the remakes models. Just seeing past Resident Evil games acknowledged, even if some weren't the best, gave me the biggest smile. Even some of the characters' weapons and skills reflect older games that feel like a completely different time from the current era of Resident Evil. Ada uses a crossbow, and Leon can use dual pistols for one of his special abilities. It's things like this that make me love the game. It's just a shame that the game supposedly meant to celebrate 25 years of an iconic series couldn't even come out in the year it was meant to. It's difficult to blame Reverse's shortcomings on the pandemic when the game had a year and a half of multiple delays and a lack of news updates to greatly improve upon the feedback from the beta. While it is nice to see the game having designated future updates, it also feels like once these next big 3 updates are done, who knows what to expect after if the player base isn't there. Hopefully it doesn't feel like a sudden drop in support like Resistance had, a game that had potential but was wasted with unbalanced gameplay and a need for purchasing the microtransactions. This game's launch needed more maps and more modes, and it would be nice to see the developers expand outside of newer Resident Evil game assets to include characters like Sheva or Jake, but I highly doubt we will see that. But despite its many flaws, I still found myself enjoying Resident Evil Reverse, and it can be a great game to play if you have some downtime. Play a few matches, complete some challenges, and progress through your battle pass. It's not a bad game to just jump into. It obviously won't make an impact or frankly be remembered in the future, but there is still some enjoyment to come out of this flawed game, and for a small, free bonus game, that's not necessarily bad. However, with the player base already dwindling severely, expect this to happen even more months after the game's release. But the addition of crossplay with other platforms may give it a needed boost despite the lack of in-game content. So, what are your thoughts on Resident Evil Reverse? Have you been enjoying it? Let me know in the comments below. Please be sure to like and subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.